we're making paella, a really well-known Spanish dish.
So I'm just gonna get the pan hot.
Okay, great. Good first move. We need to start building our flavors, so we're gonna use red pepper and just an onion. It's a great dish for a family. In fact, it came about to feed large families, to feed groups of people. And in Spain, actually, you'll find paellas of every different flavor, stripe, and color. And you know, Calder, it's really dependent upon what part of the country you're in. Mm-hmm. So, of course, so much of Spain has phenomenal seafood, and seafood is, you know, something that is featured in paellas all the time, but I've heard of snail paellas. I've eaten paellas that have had, you know, poultry and fish. I've eaten all kinds of paellas. So the way this came about, and I don't think you were there. I don't know if you were there at Grandma's house. I was up visiting my mom. We had sort of ambushed her because I was working on a food story up there, and I brought our whole group up there, and we were in Gloucester, Massachusetts, one of the oldest fishing villages in America, actually the oldest fishing village in America. So I had tons of seafood, and we were done working, and I actually was kind of like, I couldn't believe I was saying this. It was so fresh and abundant, but after working with it for a week, I thought, I just cannot bear to cook this anymore. But I had a group of people with me, and we were gonna have to eat anyway, so I thought, I'll make paella. It'll be one pan. We can just make a salad to go with it.
Well,
and
it's a really easy thing to like whip up for a bunch of people.
Well, exactly.
In one pot. And
the thing I also thought about it, and you'll appreciate this, is I love a sausage that's pretty much local to that area, but it's Portuguese in origin. That's called linguiça sausage. And we had some of that in the fridge, so I thought, okay, if I can just mix the linguiça with the seafood, we'll be on to something here. So this paella that I made wound up being so good, and we enjoyed it so much, that it's become something that I just do frequently. So I have one onion here. How about you?
What, so we're using linguiça?
Today I want to use linguiça.
So that's like a Portuguese chorizo, it's like a Portuguese sausage, is it? And it's not traditional in paella, or what? Well,
frequently there is a cured sausage like chorizo. If you're in a part of the country that has andouille sausage, you could use that. I mean, you could just use your standard issue supermarket, you know, link sausage. You can just show what it looks like and people can see.
Oh, so it's smoked?
Yeah, smoked or cured, depending, but you know, lightly smoked. It's got a great flavor. And I love it.
How do you want me to get this ready for the pot?
You could break it in half, and then if you could just cut it lengthwise and then slice it into half moons. Okay. And I'll come over here. You did a great job getting those pieces small. By the way, if you are a lover of green pepper, that would be no problem to use green pepper in this dish. So I've got some olive oil in our pan. Now you'll notice that I have a low slung pan. I use this kind of pan for pretty much tons of cooking, but this is actually exactly what you need for paella. In fact, I have been to parties, Calder, where there have been paella pans this big and frequently cooked out on an open grill too, which is so fun. Really? We have to do that sometime. That would be right up your alley. You would totally love to cook.
I love outdoor cooking.
Yeah, I know. So who's coming by today?
I don't know, maybe my friend Nina might show up.
Oh, good. I love Nina. Because I'm a mom who's only had sons. Anytime girls come over, I'm a little bit overly happy, I must say. All right, so I'm just gonna get this cooking. It needs to go for, you know, a little while and really soften up. But from beginning to end, this dish is probably under 45 minutes for sure. We're getting it started on the stovetop, but then we're gonna cook it in the oven, and it finishes up that way. All right, I'm gonna just get this going, and I wanna just talk for 1 second about the rice in paella, which is in the heart and the soul of this dish. So I have a beautiful rice here. It's a medium grain rice. Now, the thing is, you can see what medium grain looks like. It's just sort of short. So any rice that you can get your hands on that's a medium grain rice, and they have them at the supermarket, there are all kinds of rices now. Or is it rices or
I think rice is the plural of rice.
Rice. All these little rices. All right, before I get ahead of myself with the rice, I'm gonna get some of this in. So do we really, I don't think we need all that much.
No, it's a lot. I was thinking the same
I'm just gonna, actually, Calder, I don't even think we need that piece. Let's save that to grill it up later.
Okay.
And make sandwiches or something. Stir this up a little bit, and if you need to, you can get a little bit more olive oil in here. It's starting to smell great. You know, okay, maybe one little handful.
I mean, you couldn't go wrong.
I don't want it to dominate, though, because I have that seafood.
Okay.
So just, let's see. Yeah, that's good. Stop.
Okay.
And that's how cooking is sometimes. You need to use common sense, right? In looking at this dish, I think this is great. I don't really think I would want any more in here. We're gonna have clams, and we're gonna have some delicious, really tender white fish. Let's just cook this for a little bit. We got together the onions, peppers,
Linguiça.
and it's cooked for about 10 minutes here. So now it's time to get the rice in. It's really a rice dish in its heart, this dish. 2 cups are measured out there, and that's a medium grain rice. So when the rice gets in to all this wonderful flavor, what you need to do is just toast it up a little bit to suck up some of that flavor. So I'm just going to stir it and make sure that it's coated with the olive oil, which has been infused with the onions and the pepper. Make sure that my pan isn't too high because I don't want to scorch it and burn it.
But toasting it, that like sort of what enhances the taste in the end?
It enhances the taste. I always think of it, and this is not a technical term, I think of it, the rice is going and like pulling in some of that.
That's not a technical term?
No,
Really?
it's not a technical term. They don't teach that in cooking school. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna let it just sit for a second, just for a couple minutes, and we'll come back. I think it's time to get some stock in here. I have 2 cups of rice, 3 cups of seafood stock. The reason I have seafood stock right now, and I'm gonna put it right into the rice, is because I had so much seafood left over that I just made a stock with the bones. So I was being frugal. But if you aren't gonna buy whole fish, and you only need, a stock, or you don't have any, you can use chicken stock, no prob. This is
It's so fun.
Precious Threads saffron.
It's like the most expensive thing. But it's funny, it smells really before you cook it. Then when you cook it, it just is delicious.
That's right. And it's, first of all, yes, it's a very dear and precious spice, saffron. But you can get it in any supermarket.
And you don't use a lot, I'm
And
seeing.
you don't use a lot, you just use a couple pinches. Now, what have I always told you about rice once it gets into a pan?
That you bring it to a boil and then turn it off?
Don't stir it too much.
Oh, don't stir it, yeah.
Because you don't want to
did say that.
draw out that starch. So this has come to a boil. I'm going to give it a little bit more of a rolling boil. We're getting the top on it. It's going into the oven for 10 minutes. And then we're going to start layering in some of the amazing seafood that we have that goes in there. Now carefully.
And that pan's heavy, so be careful.
Okay, actually, why don't you put the clams down and come do this for me?
Okay, move.
I'm not going to pull this any further. Don't burn yourself.
Take the whole thing out?
Take the whole thing out and bring it right over here. Thank you. Right in the middle is great.
And then we got to make sure we keep the oven
Close that up.
closed. Okay.
All right, the clams, we have the most beautiful little neck clams, and we're just lodging them in there. If you want to grab a few and help me. All around, because when they spring open, they are going to be so beautiful. So put the part that's going to open, have that coming up.
Oh.
And then let's right away get the top on.
Okay.
Back on. Oops, did you burn yourself?
Nope.
Okay. And I'll open the oven for you, and we can just get it right back in.
Okay.
This cooks for another about 15 minutes. We're still going to have one more stage. All right, Calder, this paella making operation has been actually very pleasant with your help.
Oh, it's been pleasant helping you.
Excellent. So I'm cutting a beautiful piece of white fish here. It's called halibut. And the reason why we're using this and we're putting it in very last minute into the paella is because it's delicate, it's fresh, and I don't want to overcook it. So as you see, I've just got these pieces going here, and we're going to get it out of the oven so we can get it in. Actually, do you want to get it out of the oven? I think it's perfect now. The clams have been in there for 15 minutes. It cooked for 10 minutes before that. So we're at about 25 minutes, and then once we get our seafood, this is our freshest seafood in, we only have a little bit more cooking time. Oh, that's absolutely gloriously beautiful. So if you didn't have halibut, just use something that's a little firm flesh so that it doesn't really fall apart. And this is literally going to cook in no time. Clams are perfect, so they'll just get a little bit more cooking time.
So what, like a couple more minutes in the
I'm going
oven?
to put some scallops in too.
Oh, sorry.
Now, you don't have to follow this recipe to the T. You could use shrimp. I'm using what's fresh, what's local, what's, that's the way you think about seafood.
Isn't the thing with paella, it's like whatever you got?
Kind of.
Kind of like
Yeah.
seafood-wise?
Exactly. All right, if you put the top on, get it back in. Thank you. Ooh,